This video is brought to you by Robinhood, the investment brokerage app that lets you buy stocks, ETFs, and crypto all commission free. Did you know since the start of the March stock market crash, over 800,000 new brokerage accounts have been created, and buying stocks was the third most popular thing that people spent their stimulus checks on? I know I did. So stop missing out and use the link in the description below. Get your free stock just for signing up, no deposit required. And finally, this is my real portfolio. What's up YouTube, capital G here. We got all types of dueling action for you guys to check out in this video. I believe that I have 4 duels, and we're gonna try to squeeze them all into a single video. Let's start with Utopia on the A block, and Utopia can be a difficult deck to deal with because you get to draw a lot of cards, and really I think that things like Effect Veiler and Impermanence they're not that useful against the decks like Effect Negation. Mainly you want to beat this deck by hitting it with things like Nibiru, but the problem is if they get Exceed Change Tactics, they draw so many cards that it doesn't matter if you actually take away their field. And here it is, Exceed Change Tactics. The card is also searchable in the archetype, and really things like Monster Effect Negation, Cyphering Gear Gamma, Effect Veiler, Impermanence, they don't do anything because this deck just draws and draws and draws. And even if you were to Nibiru them, if they draw like 6 cards in the process, who really cares at that point? They've drawn enough cards where they're perfectly fine. Now, I don't know why this person's playing Yang Zing in 2020, trying to play a plain Jane version of Yang Zing. The Torrential would have been good there, but unfortunately met with Solemn Judgment. This is one of the things that you can draw when you're drawing all those cards with Exceed Change Tactics. Gonna go for the Solemn Strike. That's gonna get hit with Solemn Judgment, the good old Solemn Wars. And we'll see exactly if this duel, well, no, this duel is basically over. Gonna use Ghost Ogre on the Exceed Change Tactics, but a little too late. We've already drawn enough cards. Actually gonna use Rank Up Yang Zing or why was I gonna say Yang Zing Unleashed? Yang Zing Creation. My goodness, that's like a Duelist Alliance card. It will stop the the Chi-Wen from being able to summon another monster, and Yang Zing with 1 card, probably not going to be able to top deck out of this situation, especially when it's another copy of Creation, which requires a monster to be destroyed for you to even use that card. Yang Zing Creation, I always thought it was like a really good card, but it never materialized in like the Yang Zing deck. Anyway, second duel going to be Blue Eyes versus Utopia, and I think Blue Eyes is a deck that doesn't really do all that much, honestly. If you're just putting 2 big monsters on board turn 1 and neither of them have any type of like stun or control factor, like what are you really doing? They might as well just be vanilla monsters. Anyways, we're going into Utopia. I thought he was going to go double or nothing there and just try to do a bunch of damage that way, but that's actually not what it's going to be. He says, Cap, I'd rather draw these counter traps, and he is running a lot of disruption to his credit. The one thing about Exceed Change Tactics is if you're not drawing disruptive cards, the draw value doesn't really, it doesn't have that much value. You want to actually be drawing cards to stop your opponent if you're not going to go for like S0, which you can obviously discard the rank ups and you can go for S0. But let's see if his opponent can break through all of this back row. It'll be interesting. Okay, so first Solemn Judgment gone for polymerization. He's going to go for trading, Card of Consonance. He allows him to do all of that. Another trade-in, Return of the Dragon Lords, Monster Reborn. Okay, now he is going to start firing those Exceed blocks to negate monster effects. He's going to use a second Exceed block. Can we see a third Exceed block? Oh my goodness. Oh baby, a triple. 3 copies of Exceed block used in the same turn. You want to talk about negation? This guy's got negation in spades. That is actually quite incredible. Now the thing is, I really thought, because he only has 2250 life points, I thought there was some ability, or there would have been some way for this Blue Eyes guy to close out this duel. This is why you can't really run pure Blue Eyes. Like you get this. This is why people call Blue Eyes like Brick Eyes. You just get stuck with like 4 dragons in hand. And if these were live cards that could somehow add damage, he would ultimately win this duel during this turn, might I add. Now he is going to do 1700 damage there, but you just knew that this was his only opportunity to win the duel, because once you pass it back to the Utopia player, like they're almost certainly going to be able to close out the duel. He's going to be able to go right back into those Exceed Change Tactics, and this is some irony cheese. He's at 50 life points, and yet he's the one going for the thrift strats here of going for Gaga Cowboy. Like, what exactly is this cheese? I don't know. That's just bizarre. Anyways, he is going to go for the Utopia Ray. And actually, the interesting thing is, he can actually use this card's effect. Isn't this the one that you have to have like really low life points? Or maybe no, you know what? I think I might be thinking of the other Utopia, the one that you can only activate when you're under like 3,000 life points or something like that. Honestly, it's irrelevant because he's gonna rank it up anyways. He's gonna go for Utopia Ray 5, or I'm gonna call it Ray V, because Roman numerals suck, and then he's able to do the burn damage for game. You know what? I think I'm just gonna call it there. I originally planned on doing 4 duels in this video, but I don't think I'm going to. We'll go ahead and check out the deck profile so you guys can see exactly what it is looking like. So yeah, you can see Utopia has changed a little bit. The builds of Utopia that I'm used to seeing, I mean, they all definitely run like Summoner Monk. Like, this is a card that's always kind of been played, but they run some of the other cards. They run like Jiraigeto and some of like the other ones. I'm used to seeing Star Drawing also in them, but I mean, the Utopia, or I should say the Automatopoeia cards, have come such a long way in the past. You guys see a lot of these cards being ran, and like Adamanticators, even like the high level meta, it kind of feels like they can actually use their own cards. And that's kind of refreshing, because before you would use the Utopia cards, maybe a couple of rank ups here and there, but for the most part, you weren't really running any of these actual monsters. Like, you weren't running any of the Automatopoeia cards. You were just really relying on XC change tactics. So the Utopia deck has actually come a long way. You have things like Double or Nothing for the double or the Utopia Double Cheese. You now have a lot of cards in archetype that you're using, and you still have this bastard that you can fall back on. But don't worry, we all know Don Thousand's gonna get this card banned. So I don't think that this will be an option moving forward. Well, at least not until like probably after like 3 months, Konami's just going to ban this card. So that will be one step that the Utopia deck has to take backwards. But I definitely like the fact that, in Master Rule 5, all you have to do is just run a bunch of XC monsters. Anyways, if you guys are interested in this triple XC block cheese Utopia build, of course, it will be in the description below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already, and turn on that notification bell for daily videos.